During the consideration of this resolution, all time yielded is for the purpose of debate only. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, last night the Rules Committee met and reported a rule, House Resolution 1612, providing for consideration of 3 measures. The Senate amendment to H.R. 5009, the Service Member Quality of Life Improvement and National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2025. The rule makes in order a motion offered by the Chair of the Committee on Armed Services and his designee that the House concur in the Senate amendment with an amendment consisting of the text of Rules Committee Print 118-52. The rule provides for 1 hour of debate on the motion, equally divided and controlled by the Chair and Ranking Member of the Armed Services Committee or their respective designees. The rule also provides that the Chair of the Armed Services Committee may insert into the congressional record, not later than December 10, 2024, such material as he may deem explanatory of the Senate amendment and the motion specified in Section 3. Additionally, the rule provides for the consideration of H.R. 7673, the Liberty and Laundry Act, under a closed rule. The rule provides for 1 hour of debate, equally controlled by the Chair and Ranking Member of the Committee on Energy and Commerce or their respective designees, and provides 1 motion to recommit. Further, the rule provides for consideration of Senate 4199, the Judicial Understaffing Delays Getting Emergency Solved Act of 2024, under a closed rule. The rule provides for 1 hour of debate, equally controlled by the Chair and Ranking Member of the Committee on the judiciary or their respective designee, and provides 1 motion to recommit. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to support the rule and the underlying pieces of legislation, beginning with the Service Member Quality of Life Improvement and National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2025. Mr. Speaker, under the leadership of Mike Johnson, Chairman Mike Rogers, Ranking Member Adam Smith, and additional colleagues in the House and Senate, the fiscal year 25 National Defense Authorization Act represents the result of months of bipartisan and bicameral collaboration. It is a bill that balances the needs of our service members and women, servicemen and women, and the fiscal challenges facing our nation. The NDAA significantly improves the quality of life for our service members, deters our adversaries, supports our allies, and focuses our military readiness and our national security. Our country is facing serious threats to our security and freedom at levels that we have not seen since World War II. It is imperative for our national security that our service members and their families are supported so that they can focus on their mission. Ahead of the NDAA, Chairman Rogers established a panel to evaluate the quality of life for our service members and found that service members' standards of living are a major cause of low morale and family stress. This undermines our recruitment, retention, and military readiness. The NDAA puts our service members and their families first and addresses many of the issues found by the Quality of Life panel. This legislation boosts compensation, improves housing, expands access to medical care, increases access to child care, and provides support for the spouses of service members. Through the tireless work of the House Armed Services Committee and Rules Committee staff, the NDAA advances important policies to support our warfighters at home and abroad and deters our adversaries. The National Defense Authorization Act ensures that our nation's military is organized, trained, and equipped to deter our adversaries, Communist China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and any other nation or terrorist group must know that they will never succeed in a war with the United States of America. To strengthen our defense, the NDAA supports the continued modernization of our nuclear deterrent. It invests in our naval fleet, increases innovation, and revitalizes our defense industrial base to ensure our warfighters have the capabilities they need to win on future battlefields. The NDAA restores America's deterrence by restoring lethality, defending Israel, securing our southern border, and providing oversight and accountability. We must continue to modernize our military. The NDAA fosters innovation by providing for the development and fielding of artificial intelligence, hypersonics, quantum computing, and autonomous systems. The NDAA builds and maintains the overmatch we need to deter China. This legislation counters Communist China's malign global influence in Africa, South America, and Central America. The NDAA removes Communist China from our supply chains and prevents CCP spies from infiltrating our research institutions. The NDAA bolsters Taiwan's defense and support of our Indo-Pacific allies as they work to deter our shared adversaries. This legislation also supports our ally Israel as they defend themselves from Hamas, terrorists, by fully funding cooperative missile defense programs and expanding emerging technology research and development efforts. The NDAA reforms and improves the acquisition process by streamlining the budgeting, milestone, and contracting processes, making them more efficient, user-friendly, and less costly. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the NDAA includes language that saves our taxpayers over $31 billion by cutting inefficient programs, obsolete weapons, and Pentagon bureaucracy. We live in the greatest nation on earth, and it's imperative that we support those who protect our freedoms. Mr. Speaker, the fiscal year 25 NDAA is another step in that direction. Now, moving on to H.R. 7673, the Liberty and Laundry Act. Mr. Speaker, this bill is simple. It clarifies the intent of the Energy Policy Conservation Act of 1975 by prohibiting the Secretary of Energy from imposing new efficiency mandates or enforcing existing standards for washing machines unless these standards, 1, are cost-effective and technologically feasible, 2, save the consumers money, and 3, save a significant amount of energy. The Energy Policy Conservation Act of 1975 already requires the Department of Energy to follow specific criteria for prescribing new efficiency standards, and the DOE may only propose a new standard if the new standard results in a significant conservation of energy, is technologically feasible, and economically justified. The DOE under President Biden has consistently ignored the consumer protections built into the underlying statute and has used efficiency and appliance standards to pursue climate objectives over consumer choice. They have attempted to impose these mandates on every appliance in your home: gas stoves, clothes dryers, dishwashers, refrigerators, and air conditioners. These mandates have increased the cost of appliances, undercut appliance production quality, and jeopardized consumer choice. It's just another example of executive overreach that has made the cost of living for everyday Americans more expensive. If the Biden administration has proposed standards in accordance with the law, H.R. 7673 wouldn't be coming to the floor. Finally, we have Senate 4199, the Judges Act of 2024. It's another simple bill, Mr. Speaker. Congress last comprehensively updated judgeships for the district courts in the Judicial Improvement Act of 1990. Since then, the population of the United States has grown by nearly 100 million people, and federal caseload has increased by 40%. In the last 20 years, civil cases pending more than 3 years have increased 346%, and the average time between filing cases and trial is over 2 years, but often it is 3 to 4 years. This bill is based off the 2023 recommendations of the Judicial Conference of the United States and increases district judgeships by 66 over time, splitting the new judges into 6 tranches across at least 2 presidential administrations. Additionally, Senate 4199 amends certain districts in Utah, Texas, and California and requires a GAO report on the caseload of district courts and courts of appeals with recommendations on how to alleviate any caseload-related changes. Mr. Speaker, to simplify it further, this bill requires the President to appoint, with the advice and consent of the Senate, new judgeships for certain district courts by each of the years 2025, 2027, 2029, 2031, 2033, and 2035. That's across 6 different Congresses, across 3 different presidential terms, and at least 2 different presidential administrations. This bill passed the Senate by unanimous consent in August. I want to say that again, Mr. Speaker. This bill passed the Senate by unanimous consent in August, and the House should now do its part to address the workload demands in the courts. Mr. Speaker, I look forward to consideration of these important pieces of legislation and urge passage of this rule. I reserve the balance of my time.